So all month, as the mantra of homecoming, instead of picking one sequence and continuing it through the month, I've picked some of my favorite yoga hour sequences. As much as I talk about how I enjoy the routine and consistency that the yoga practice brings, and down to like we usually start sitting and I do a lot of head, neck, shoulder stuff. We get into cat-cow and all of that stuff. This sequence today is actually one of my favorites because it doesn't do that. It's a little bit different in its structure. And it's because I know this teacher, Ellen, used to study Bikram yoga a lot. And so it's a little bit of a riff on the Bikram sequence and playing with how that combines with yoga hour, which means we start standing up. If you've never done a Bikram yoga class, not to worry, it'll, what am I even trying to say about that? I've done a handful. I don't need to ever go back into the 100+ degree room of a Bikram studio, but there are some pieces of the repetition of the practice, though very different from the yoga asana that we're used to from me, that I really find helpful. Okay, stand up on your mat. Place your feet together as you will in Tadasana, meaning maybe your feet are all the way together or a little space apart. Relax the arms down by your side. Stand nice and tall. Welcome yourself by staring at a space low on the ground or close the eyes. Take a few breaths in and out. Interlace the fingers. Place it right underneath your chin. Squeeze the elbows together, as though you're resting your chin down on your knuckles, but giving your knuckles a little bit of a press up. Take a breath in again, and as you do so, lift your elbows up towards the sky. As you exhale, just bring the elbows back down together. Bikram-like, but not what they do. So stay with me. Inhale, lift the elbows up. As if the whole body is expanding, the elbows have to fly to give you room, and then exhale, bring it back down. You're gonna do that one more time. Inhale, lift the elbows up. And then elbows back down. Now, lift the arms all the way up to the sky. Open your eyes, look up. Interlace the hands here. Thumb and first finger go up. Instead of looking up, now look straight ahead and lean to your right side. As you lean hands to the right, push your hips to the left. Don't worry too much about rights and lefts. We'll always do both sides. So I could say first side, second side. It all means the same. And then inhale, come back around to the center. Exhale, second direction. One breath here in that second direction. And then come back up. Take the hands straight out in front of you. Bend the knees, sit into the thighs. Utkatasana, chair pose. Round the back like you're in cat pose. Try to push your head down towards your knees. Stay there for one more breath. And then stand back up, arms to the sky. This time, right hand, hold on to your left upper arm bone. Lean your head back into the forearm and lean again to the first side. Try to look straight or even up here. And then come back to the center. Switch, hold on to the other upper arm bone. Lean the head back into the forearm. Up and over, second direction. So the thought is that we warm up the body, fully standing, ready to go. Come back up to the center. Again, arms forward, bend the knees, sit into the thighs, Utkatasana. This time, take the hands again behind the back and interlace. Still round the back like cat pose and lift the arms up to the sky. On the inhale, stand, reach the arms back up. One more time, but this time take the right hand, hold on to the left wrist, up and over to the side. Push all of your weight into the outside leg so that your right foot can go out and lift. Balance on one leg. So the hands should be leaning to the same side as the lifted foot here. And then you come back to center. Switch your grip. Lean first, up and over. Big full side body stretch. And then you tap the left toes out to the side. Maybe lift the left foot up. Try to balance. And take both feet back. Again, arms shoulder height. Bend the knees, sit into the thighs. Utkatasana. This time, instead of staying low, lift the torso back upright towards vertical. Stay in Utkatasana, but that more lifted position. Try to scoop tailbone down, belly button in. Look into the hands or past the fingertips here. One more breath. And then inhale, stand up. Good. Exhale, forward fold, touch down to the ground. Now we get into what we're used to. Downward facing dog, step the feet back. Pedal it out. Lower your knees down to the ground. Here's our cat and cow. Move through the spine. Perhaps noticing how those standing stretches first might make us feel a little bit different here for this cat and cow when we've gotten around to it. Send the right arm out to the side and then up to the sky. Twisted child's pose. Take the right arm through, shoulder, ear, side of the face, down to the mat. Lift the left arm up. One breath. Set the left hand back down. Lift all the way to all fours. Take a pause, a breath. And then second side, lift the left arm up. Thread the needle, left shoulder, ear, side of the face, down to the mat. Right arm up to the sky. Again, just one breath, and then place the right hand back beside the face to help you up, all fours. Steady there. Plank pose, walk the feet back. On the toes, hands right underneath the line of the shoulders. All the normal things, squeeze the glutes, lengthen the tailbone, tone the abdomen, look a little forward rather than down. Stay here for a count of 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower all the way down to your belly. Shalabhasana, interlace the hands behind your back. Lift everything that you can up away from the mat and your belly down, back bend. And then release. Think low push-up, so hands right underneath the line of the shoulders. Squeeze the elbows close into the sides. Can you firm the legs so much that your thighs try to lift off of the mat here? And then hover at the lowest point possible. Push all the way up to high push-up. And then into downward facing dog. This is another reason that this sequence is one of my favorites. It's a sequence of side plank. I want you to balance on your right hand, outer edge of the right foot. Lift the left arm up to the sky for side plank. As soon as you get there, you pretty much come back down and switch sides. Left hand, outer edge of the left foot. Lift the right hand up. And then you do it one more time. Right hand down, flip the hips again, left arm up. Left arm down, outer edge of the left foot, stack, right hand high. Two hands to the mat, downward facing dog. I like the strength, stability necessary, and the agility to switch from side to side there. And then we keep flipping back and forth. Come all the way down to the knees, sit down on your butt. Hands back behind you, think like a crab. Lift your hips up into a table position. Hands can face fingers towards the heels, out to the side or back behind you. Whatever works in your body. Stay here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then we're going to flip back to all fours. Downward facing dog. Come forward to plank. And again, long hold here. Plank pose, squeeze it in strong and steady. Look a little bit forward, stay as you are. Try to stay on the toes. Know that the knees are always available to you if that's your best way to hold the position today. And again, lie flat down, this time superhero, so hands forward. Lift everything that you can up. Try squeezing the hands and feet until they touch and lengthen. And then lower it down. Change to that low hover of Chaturanga Dandasana. So for you, that might be belly down on the ground, but you've engaged the squeeze of the elbows close into the sides, most of the legs off of the ground. Try hovering belly away from the ground. And then all the way up to high push-up and into downward facing dog. Guess what? We have that drill of side plank again. Right hand, outer edge of the right foot, left hand high. If this repetition is not so great for your body, switch to the second side. Try it from the knees down position. Switch back to the first side. Switch to the second side. Switch back to the first side. So this one's 3 times through on each arm. And switch back to the second side. Come down to all fours. Flip to your bottom. Crab position again. Feet out in front of you. Hands back behind you. Lift up. That table position. This time around, can you go 1 leg straight, 2 legs straight? Lift the hips a little bit more to push through your feet to try to get all 10 toes on the ground as well. Big full stretch. And then lower it down. You flip back over to all fours and into downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward into low lunge. Here's where we return again to more of the regularly scheduled programming. Knee over ankle, fingertips in line with the toes. Make that back leg straight, strong, and secure for you. And then come up to high lunge, arms to the sky. I like to throw this sequence in every few months and just see where I'm at. Lower the hands down, because it does put you through the paces, more like drills. Set back to downward facing dog. And now I want you to walk your hands backwards to the feet. Stand up. Lift the right knee up and into your chest. Either holding hands under the thigh for support, straighten the leg, or hands at the waist. Levitating sage, you've got one more breath with that leg as high as you can stay lifted. And then lower it down. Guess what? There's one more thing on this side. Look towards the front of your mat. It's that giant step forward into your lunge. This time, back knee down to the mat and arms up to the sky. So we were here just a moment before with the knee up. Now it's knee down, getting into a little bit more opening in the upper back. Lower the hands either side of the front foot. Step it all the way back to downward facing dog. Inhale, come forward to plank pose and hold. Most of you know I've gotten into boxing lately. That's why I've got this heavy bag behind me, always in the frame. I'll be learning new things, and then every probably 5th, 6th practice, it's all drills, just like, how is that going out for us? Lower it down. We can think of that, this sequence that way. Hands behind your head and lift up. Lower it all the way down. Place the hands and tuck the toes. Low chaturanga. Trying to keep my breath work under control. If you hear me with a lot of pauses today, it's that low chaturanga and then high downward facing dog. Okay, good old regular low lunge. Step the left foot forward. See where we're hanging here. Come up to high lunge, arms to the sky, torso vertical. Good, square the hips, breathe. Lower the hands down, step back to downward facing dog. Walk the hands to the feet. Stand up. Lift the left knee to the chest. And again, holding under the thigh for more support, straighten the leg. Often I do that and then try to take the hands away and see, can I still keep my leg lifted? Big tone in the abdomen, ton of hip flexor work. Release the leg down. We're ready for that big step forward, little bend in both knees. Be good to yourself and take your giant leap. Your giant leap might be a couple of steps. Lower the back knee. Squeeze the back knee forward, the front heel back. With that amount of steady strength, lift the arms up. Let the hips sink a little down and forward, but lift up and back in the chest. Lower the hands on either side of the front foot, plank pose. Hold it. And then lower down, this time cobra. Press through the hands and the feet, peel the chest up, cobra pose. Downward facing dog. Look forward to the hands. Step or jump to the front of the mat. Inhale, half lift. Forward fold. Stand up, reach the arms to the sky. And palms together, center of the chest. Couple of breaths here. Okay, take a wide stance. Face the long edge of your mat. Separate the feet as wide as feels right for you. Turn the feet parallel to one another. Extend the arms out either direction. We're actually going to a wide-legged forward fold here. So at first we want to just be as gigantic of a star as we can. And then keeping that long spine, hinge at the hips, and take your hands down to the floor. Try to pull the fingertips and the toes all in the same line with one another, keeping the spine as long as possible. Then dip the head down towards that same line as the fingers and toes. Here, if you have tighter hamstrings, you got some options. Bend both knees and you can still take the head closer to the mat. Simply stay more lifted with that longer spine as is available to you. Anyone working with mostly straight legs, lean your weight more forward into your toes so you keep that sense of muscular strength pulled up on the front side of the body to get into the stretch, healthy, good stretch of the back side of the body here. Next breath, bring the hands to the waist, push down through your feet and come all the way upright. Turn the right toes out, bend the right knee. Extend the arms in either direction like warrior two. And this influence of the 26 and 2 sequence, this is what triangle pose looks like today. It's a bent front knee. Let your right fingertips hover above the ground the entire time, trying to reach down just behind the line of your heel. Top arm up to the sky. So the back leg, top arm, very similar to where we usually go in triangle pose. It's just that front leg is bent like warrior two. And the fingertips are hovering rather than holding anything. You can use your upper arm bone to press the thigh a bit away from you. Bound side angle, drop the right arm under you, the left hand behind your back. Can you catch your hands? Keep trying to swing your head over the front toes, just like you did in triangle pose a moment before. Release the hands, come all the way back upright and straighten the right leg. Turn the toes, we'll give it a go on the second side. Look out over the fingertips, bend the left knee here. It's the same effort, so sometimes I like to set this without using the hands. So if you take your hands like to the waist, kind of around the belly button is fine here, and set the left shoulder just towards the inner thigh. And then the hand can stretch down, top arm up, you're there. Breathe and steady. And then left arm wraps under the leg, top arm behind the back. Getting there, the head usually leans forward, the hips lean kind of back, so you have to try to balance it out, even if it means not grabbing hands. Come back to warrior two. Straighten the left leg, turn the toes parallel to one another. Jump or step your feet all the way towards the middle. Good. I like to shake it out a little bit. Let's change our orientation back to the front side of the mat. One reason I knew the Bikram class wasn't probably the way to go for me is that I did come to yoga seeking to sort of lessen my competitive nature. And every time I went to that class, I felt like I was in a drill type scenario. It's one pose at a time. And I was always trying to best that effort. Give yourself a few breaths to just clear it out here. Instead, trying to make the mindset shift to a point of just like, let me notice where I am, how I'm feeling today. It's not something better or worse than where it was before. Just taking notice. Lift both arms up to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Keep the right foot forward. Step your left foot back into our low lunge. Lift the right hand up to the sky and twisted lunge. And then lower the hand to the inside of the foot. Check this out. Set the back knee down. Instead of the lunge of the hips down and forward, push your hips more back so they're more in line with that back leg. And then open up left hand to the sky. This one always plays funky with my balance. Okay, and then that's pretty much half moon pose. We're gonna try that out here. So if you lift the back knee and do shift a little forward, so now the right hand is not by the leg, but in front of the right leg, and lift the left leg up. You're trying to do that same opening. Lift the left arm, lift the hips, the shoulders kind of open to the side. Make the standing leg as straight as it'll go. Still having fun here, and want a next challenge. Pull the left knee into the chest. Take the top hand to try to hold on to the front of your foot and open it up for Ardha Chandra Chapasana, which is your bound half moon shape. Point the left knee straight back towards the short side of your mat, straight back. As everything releases, Uttanasana, standing forward fold at the front end of the mat. And then hands to the hips, stand all the way up. Take a breath. Second side, lift both arms up to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Keep the left foot forward, step the right foot back. Remember, it's that full low lunge first. Easy revolved lunge that we're used to. Lift the left arm up. And then both hands to the inside. Again, so the right knee goes down to the mat, maybe a little bit forward, and then shift the hips backwards so that most of your weight is in that right leg. Left arm, trying to press into the left knee, inner thigh, to help balance as you lift the right arm up to the sky. Okay, and a lot of the same picture comes back, but standing on the left foot instead of having the back knee down. So we're going to pop back up into our lunge. Left hand goes more forward. As you lift the right leg, lift the right arm, and can you do that same opening of hips, belly, shoulder? Change to your bound half moon. If that's working for you here, you'll have to bend the right knee all the way into chest, catch the foot, flip the thigh again, and open it back out to the side. Okay, release enough to stand on two legs. Half lift. Forward fold. Stand it all the way up, arms to the sky. Palms together, center of the chest. Ooh, a pose that is not at all my favorite right now, but we give it a go. Come with an open mind, standing pigeon pose. Hands to the hips, pick up your right knee into the chest. Hold on to the front of the knee, right at the top of the shin. With the same hand, take the opposite hand to reach down to your foot. And then like in a book, opening up, turn and rotate from the hip and the knee to your external rotation. All right, so you've got it here. You could lean the chest forward and take the hands, forearms under the shin. Try to bring the foot up to the shoulder rather than you leaning the shoulder all the way down to the foot. If that's working for you, you can go into more of the cradle, the bend of the elbows at the foot and knee. I'll be able to show you that one better on the second side, but find the phase that works. And then nice and slow, release it all the way down and shake it out. If your biggest struggle right there is balance, feel free to walk over, hold on to something, put your back against a wall so that you can take a little bit of that struggle out of the equation. Let's go second side. Left knee up and into the chest. Again, hold it tight and full. And then same hand stays to the front of the shin, and you take the opposite hand. Again, hold on to the foot and open up your book. Stage one, stay and play there. Stage two, forearms hook underneath the shin. And again, you're trying to pull the foot up towards the shoulder rather than the reverse. And then maybe hooking the elbows around the foot and knee. And we stand up as tall as we can. Breathe with it. Nice and slow release and stand on 2 feet. Still here in a balancing work, kick the right heel towards the bum. Same hand holds on to the front of the foot. Left arm up to the sky. I like to call this one flamingo. And you stay with flamingo, standing, balancing on one leg, or take it towards Natarajasana. Dancer pose. You pick the back foot up as you hinge and lean forward. A very classic Bikram sequence pose that's seen in lots of posters. And release. Shake it out. Second side, kick the left heel towards the seat. Hold on to the foot. I like the flamingo work first to remind us that this is about opening this whole front side of the body. We get it there. And then does dancer enhance that as you kick the back foot back Hinge forward, but still keeping the full stretch along quad, belly, chest. And 2 feet down to the mat. When you think you've done enough balance poses, you know that there's going to be one more. And then we get lower to the mat. Pick up the right knee again. Hold the front of the shin, lift it higher. Okay, take the opposite hand, left hand, and try to hold on to the outside of your foot. As you extend and straighten the leg to the front, swing the right arm back behind you. Look to the side or even back. Think tall here. Keep lifting the spine up, 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 and that's what gives you room to twist. It all comes back in, and 2 feet to the mat. Time to reset. And then second side, left knee up and into the chest. Hold the front, get it as high as you can with both hands helping out. Take the right hand to the outside of the left foot. All right, great way to think about it is keep the knee bent, but lift the heel as high as the knee first. And then you get hamstrings involved. Then start to straighten the leg. Tone and turn through the spine, push down through the standing big toe. Let everything else lift up. And as you untwist, both feet flat down to the mat. Inhale, lift the arms up to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. This is what always feels extra good after all of that standing balance. More like ragdoll. Feel free to separate your feet here. Let your upper body really hang forward and over. Change again to your low lunge, right foot forward, left foot back. Lower the left knee to the mat. Bring both hands up to the front thigh. We'll call this start phase. It could be end phase as well. The next challenge, add the quad stretch as left heel towards your seat. Take the left hand, so same hand as foot, to try to pull the heel in closer to your outer sit bone. With the torso staying lifted and upright, hips maybe a little bit down and forward. You can play with how you're holding on to that back foot. Do you need to turn the shoulders a little bit open to the side? Release. We'll switch sides. I'm just going to step both feet to the front to get into the second side. So left foot forward, right foot back, lowering the right knee. Walking the hands up to the front thigh, send the hips a little down and forward. Again, nice quad stretch here, and the back leg might be the end goal right now. That next challenge point of the pose, heel towards the hip. Perhaps adding on right hand to the right foot. So I usually bend the elbow and sort of spin the fingers around to hold the toes. Elbow points up to the sky. There's some contraction in my shoulders that make it hard to then fully bring shoulders and hips back around. And I stay with what works. You do the same. Slow release of the back foot all the way to downward facing dog. One way I've started looking at the drills in boxing that very much relates to this kind of sequence and practice in yoga is not, can I get more punches? Can I throw harder punches? But can I meet maybe the same punch goal, the same output that I was at the last time I did that drill, but feel more easeful in the body and the mind getting there? That's the goal, perhaps. How do you make this downward facing dog that we do oh so commonly come with a little less ease, a little less tension? Stay with it, keep looking, keep noticing. And then change to child's pose, knees down, knees apart, big toes together as you sit back into a heavy child's pose. Meaning relax, let the whole body sink closer to the mat as you can. And then change to a seated position. Boat pose, and we've got some repetitions of boat pose, kind of like we did in the repetitions of side plank at the beginning. It's full boat, if you will, nice and tall. Knees can be bent or legs straighter at the tall part of that boat. And then we'll go to what I call half boat or kind of canoe. Sometimes I call it canoe. Hollow body, you go halfway down and then try to come back up to full boat. We'll go back and forth 4 more times there. Half boat, full, half, full, half, full, half. Let's throw one more in here. Half and full. Go all the way down to the mat. Hug the knees into the chest. Take your hands out to a T shape. Legs straight up into the air. Try to catch your feet in your right hand. So they've got to go into a big, strong diagonal V up towards that hand and then kind of fall towards it at some point. You're like, that's crazy, Betsy. I don't know what you're talking about there. Bend your knees and do a supine side body stretch, side body twist. Okay, both legs go back up to the sky. Maybe like one strong windshield wiper, go over towards the second side. Try to catch your feet in your hand. And then go back up. Back to the first side. We'll stay a lesser amount of time here, just kind of tap down and then go right back up. And to the second side. Go right back up. Sit on your hands, or for more challenge and leg raises, take the hands behind your head. Keep the feet glued together. Take them down much like you did in that half boat or canoe, about a foot above the mat, and then back up to the sky. Keep going like that. If you want even more challenge, lift your head and shoulders off the mat as you add in the leg raises. Go slower rather than faster here. Engage the tension in the muscles. Can be a really great thing. Tension in the muscles, bringing in some extra strength. And then knees to chest, let it all hug in. Rock yourself up to a seated position. We did standing pigeon pose. Now we get to do seated pigeon pose. Back to the right side first. Hold on, right hand just to the knee, other hand to the foot. And again, we're trying to open up the book. Like your hip is a book opening up right at the spine, and the foot comes as close to the shoulder as it can go. And as close to the shoulder might be further away, yeah? And that arm is helping you find the right space. You know the 3 hooks. It's staying as is, or forearms hooking under the calf, or eye of the elbows around the foot and knee. Go to any of those 3 that are working for you. Still try to sit up nice and tall, more forward on your sits bones here. And then to release sitting pigeon pose, we're going to wear the leg. Try to hook the knee above your shoulder. Clamp the foot down, hands on either side. Push the arms straight to lift the butt, the heel, hug it in. One hand arm pose and down. Thinking of it as that drill. We've seen it before, it's coming in. How's it working today? Second side, seated pigeon pose. Hold on, knee and foot. Work your way into this. Maybe it's more of a rocking of the legs side to side. You can take that hook of the forearms or around the crease of the elbows. Keep this lifted foot, flexed, toes spread. That helps to keep the muscles of the calf engaged, safer for the knee and hip. All right, and then wear the leg. Try to take the knee way far back. Lift the heels so that you got some room to hook it to the shoulder. Again, hands down as you clamp the foot. Push down through the hands, lift your whole body up. And release. A little bit of a shake. Seated forward fold, Paschimottanasana. From here, I want you to change to a standing forward fold. So however you want to get there, stand on your feet. Standing forward fold, fingertips reach the ground. Nice long stretch through the back of the legs. And we change again, right foot forward, left foot back into our low lunge. Okay, friends, forearm lunge. Flat hands all the way down to the forearms, if works. Keep the back leg lifted. The next pose, I'm going to foreshadow for you, is one-legged crane pose. Crane, crow pose, Bakasana. But your right foot that you're looking at right beside your forearms, that foot's going to go forward instead of back. Walk back up to your hands. You just did that one arm leg pose. It's similar, but we're flipped onto our hands instead of on our butt. So we've got to hook the right arm under to the outside of the foot. And then as you hop the back knee in, try to set the left knee onto the left upper arm bone. Get the left foot off of the floor. The hips start to dip low like in a squat, and extend the right leg out in front of you. It's very pretzely, figuring out rights and lefts and all the things. But the balance of the pose sometimes comes in a little easier actually than full crane pose. To get out of the pose, just find how your feet can step back onto the ground and walk all the way back to downward facing dog. I'll try to walk you through on the other side. I am not going to mirror, but I'm going to give you a different angle. So left foot forward into your regular low lunge. It comes to forearm lunge first. Both hands go to the inside. Keep the back knee up and then down to the forearms. If you're like, I'm not trying that next thing. I know where I am in this skill, this drill, and I want back knee down. I'm going to stay right here. Cool. Go for it. If you're aiming towards that next pose, try to keep the back knee up here because it's going to help as we progress. Okay, you came down to the forearms, go back up. And then you duck the left shoulder under the left leg to get the hand to the opposite side. So I've got one line, fingers, front toes, other fingers. And then just hop the back leg in. As the legs get closer, can you set the right knee onto the upper right arm bone? Think malasana, think squat neck, so the hips have to drop down, which might give you clearance to lift the left leg up and out. Keep the hands as they are, release the feet, and walk it all the way backwards to downward facing dog. And then come back to this home base of down dog, just here. The skill, the drill, the pose was there, it's gone. No more worries. Right here, home base, be home. And then child's pose, knees down, big toes together, sit back. Flip it around, soles of the feet on the mat. Remember that table pose from the beginning? We're going to do it one more time here. Place your hands back behind you. Remember, fingers can face towards the heels. I think out towards the side is actually most comfortable for most people. And then lift up for your table. Elements of big belly breath. Hips high, quads high here. Lower the hips back down and change to bridge pose. So you're going to go all the way down. So same elements from chest down to the feet. We've just changed so that we're lying back here. Push your head and shoulders against the mat and lift the hips up again. Squeeze in the glutes. Slight tuck of the chin so that you can see the belly and really breathe full. You can interlace the hands, grab hold of the edges of the mat. Bridge pose options, you know them. Take the one that suits you. From your bridge pose, lower down. Take the hands like goalposts. Keep the feet as wide as your yoga mat. And do little slow windshield wipers, knees over to the right, knees over to the left. Couple of times, just slow, continuous, right to left. Pull the knees into the chest. As you give yourself a hug, decide here, is there any last little bits of movement that you'd like? Add it in if there's one more pose, more unwinding to do. And then as ready, Shavasana. Find that final relaxation pose. A few deep exhale sighs to really down, regulate more fully. Let it be. Friends, if you'd like a little more time in your still position, please stay. For those that are ready to close with me, make your way back to a seated position. Sit tall through your spine. Draw the palms together, thumbs to the sternum. Anjali Mudra, a gesture of intention. I like to think of Anjali Mudra sort of like a peace offering to myself. It's here, I found this space. I want to keep returning. So anytime during the day, I can simply come back to the mudra, take a breath, pause, Brings the experience of practice leading into just the dailiness. Let's close in the sound of Om. Empty out the breath. Take a deep breath in. And great gratitude to you, each other, this practice. Namaste.